Welcome back. Jen Elledge here, sexual health expert and founder of the Talk Institute, here to share with you the top 10 toughest sex questions that parents get asked and how to answer them. All right, so before we dive in and get into the 10 toughest questions, I want to go over some quick guidelines no matter what your child's question is, because let's face it, there's more than 10. Am I right or am I right? So, in general, some things to keep in mind always when your child is asking a question that is a sex related question, or even just a question that really surprises you, is you do want to do your best to have a poker face, meaning try not to show your emotion if it's one that's shocked, embarrassed, maybe concerned. You don't want to show that expression on your face right away, because what that will do is shut the door to them talking to you, and that's definitely what you don't want to have happen. The other thing you want to be really careful about is your tone. Your tone says so much. Next to your body language, it's the second most powerful communication tool that we have. So if you say, "Where did you hear that?" or "Where did you hear that?" is different than, "Where did you hear that?" The tone and the inflection of your voice is very powerful. So when your kids are asking questions, get your tone under control, get your poker face on, and make sure that you count to 10 if you need to, if you are feeling any emotion around the question or concern or embarrassment or whatever you might feel. Okay? The third thing is, I think it's so important to praise your child for asking questions. Say, "That's a great question, sweetie. I love when you come to me with your questions." If the timing is not the best, let's say you're in the grocery store and there's a line of people behind you and your child wants to know what a condom is. Maybe not the best scenario to be having a full-fledged conversation around what a condom is. And that's okay. You can say to your child, "Honey, that's a great question. Why don't you ask me that in the car on the way home?" That way, you have actually a little bit of time. You bought yourself a little time to kind of think about how you want to approach it, what you might want to say, and you're not feeling super embarrassed with the line full of people behind you at the supermarket. Another thing to think about is what type of question your child might be asking you, because there's different ones. Some questions they just want information. So, what is a condom? What is sex? Where do babies come from? It's sort of an information question. Other questions have to do with a value. When is a good time to have sex? Is a value-laden question. Another question they might have to do if they're normal. And am I normal question might be something like, is masturbation okay? So those are three top things that kids might ask. And then a fourth thing is they may ask you a personal question. And occasionally a shocking one, depending on the kid. And the personal questions might be something along the lines of, were you a virgin when you got married? Is an example of that. So when you get your question and you realize what type of question it is, the next thing you may want to try is to ask your child a question back. So the question could be, let's say, what is a condom? Then I would come back with, "That's a great question, sweetie. What do you think it is?" And that way I get a context of where they may have heard the question. Do I need to be concerned? Is it something they need to know right now because they need one? Whatever your fears are around that, usually when you get a sense of the context of the question, where did they hear it? What do they think it is? What makes you ask that question are all good ways to gauge how much to say and where you need to fill in the blanks. After you fill in the blanks, if it wasn't enough information, a child will typically ask a follow-up question. And then you just need to share a little bit more. But keep your answers short and sweet. Try not to get into too complicated of an answer, because oftentimes the kid's question is really simple. And once you give them a simple answer, they're like, "Okay." And they might just run outside and go play. And the conversation's, it's finished at that point, which might be a good thing and ease your nerves. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Just remember, watch your tone, and don't say, well, what do you think it means? And it's very different than, what do you think that is? One's more inviting, one's more, why are you asking that question? So know the difference and do your best to watch those things. And as we dive in and get into the scripts of some of the most toughest questions, then it'll make more sense to you of how to approach these. So I hope those tips help for now, and I will see you soon in the 10 toughest sex questions that children ask.